Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday, and that means one thing and one thing only. That means it's time for our Owner Talk podcast. Over 15 weeks, this podcast maps out as we start from zero on our campaign to support Mexican tourism post-COVID. Over 15 weeks, me and my co-host Peter will be covering our journey of how we try to distribute 1,000 bookings per month to quality car rental companies in Mexico. Join us on our journey as we try to sign partnerships, drive traffic to our website, and try to make everything work. And watch us succeed or fail miserably. Join us and learn with us what to do and what to do not. With this exclusive all access to Practical Business 101. Well, hello.
Okay. Well, hello, Pavel. Nice to hear you
Hello,
again.
Peter. How's it going?
Hey, I'm still in Spain. Weather is really, really, really hot here. Gotta say, today is like a scorcher. I mean, we got up to our 40s here today.
It's a cold start. It's a cold start with hot weather. It's like, how are you doing? I'm in Spain. I'm in Spain, man. It's just like, so everybody knows, you know.
Well, yeah. I just wanted to tell you in case you've forgotten. You might have. I don't know, for some particular reason or something.
Has anything changed? How's Spain?
I think the people there's more people here. I gotta say, and which is very positive, and I like it. I like to see that something's moving, that stuff is moving around. There's been like the weekends are more packed because the Spanish people themselves are coming for holidays to the place where we are, about 30 minutes south of Alicante, and there are more foreigners here, definitely. Like, we hear more people from Central Europe, more people from England, definitely. Uh,
Oh,
so there's something going on around here,
I think
definitely.
we should keep you in Spain more often. We should maybe send you to Spain more often. You sound extremely enthusiastic. It looks like Spain is good on you.
It, it
It seems like you're enjoying yourself.
it does me very good, I can tell you that. What's new in Prague?
We're just working. We're working on our podcast. We're working on our website. We're basically doing all the things that you're not doing right now.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely gonna catch up when I come back. And speaking of catching up, actually, I gotta say, there's been a lot of work around all this stuff that we're working on, and I think that the systemization of the work, the way the documents and the stuff that's going on, being produced, and we're all basically sharing it on a common file online. I must say that is an excellent help for someone at my position now, trying to basically follow up on as much stuff as I can on what's happening back home. And it's a great job you guys are doing
Are
in
you
that regard.
are you basically just saying that you're enjoying yourself watching us work, and just like, oh, this is good. I mean, I could do this line on the beach all the time.
And just read a couple of emails from time to
Just
time.
like, oh, this is okay. This is progressing.
No, 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 no.
It's a comfortable place to be in.
No, you guys are doing a great job, I must say. The work is, maybe I'll be repeating myself, but the work is structuralized very well. It's definitely being prepared for somebody to follow up on, somebody who'd like to basically follow and do the same thing as we are doing, or help jump along, basically, with the project. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about how that's progressing generally. Where you guys started?
I mean, look, it's true. I mean, this is our third episode doing the podcast together, and we are we're learning how to do everything a little bit more efficiently. Basically, writing down the SOP, standard operating procedures, for how the podcast should be done. We've prepared a better script this time, meaning better notes for how we should do things. We have standard operating procedures, how
Hmm.
when the podcast is edited, how it'll be put on a website. As we
Absolutely.
say in our introduction, this whole thing is a business project. It's a campaign. It's a way for us to learn how to do things. So we're learning, but at the same time, we want to share it with other people, whoever might be listening. And so we're also writing down the documents, and we're be putting it out on secretgoats.com, our website,
Oh, that's
where if anybody wants to, I guess it might or might not be useful, but if it is useful at all to anybody, they can take a look at our SOPs, basically step by step process of okay, you edit the episode, you need to put it up on a website, this is how you do it. And it's really like, even if you, what we're trying to do is, even if you have never done it before, if you don't know how to do it, so that you know how it's done. So that's like, that's one of the goodies that we have for um, mm, our listeners, anybody who might be listening to this now or later, so that they can go and if somebody's thinking, we've been thinking about making a podcast for a long, long time.
absolutely
Uh,
true. That's
Took
true.
us a long time to make that decision, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think this might be one of those things that helps somebody to actually produce it. So I'm personally very happy with the fact that we can put something like this together, and hopefully, after maybe 4 or 5 episodes, we'll be able to hire somebody to do the hard work for us.
Absolutely, I can't wait. Basically, because it was as the way I see it, and the way it's progressing. We should be basically focusing on stuff that brings and fulfills the main goal of this whole project, and that is 100,000 viewings or visitors to our website, and transformed into 1,000 bookings for quality rental companies in Mexico, which is our main goal, our main point of interest, and all this stuff that we are doing now, and simultaneously trying to uh, create the podcast and learn how to do the podcast. This should be automated within a couple of weeks, and we should be able to focus on the important stuff.
Um, One of the things that I find quite interesting and intriguing is how the whole thing develops, because we're right now, we're in week 3. This is week 3.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I would say when we started, we had absolutely zero idea of what we're going to be doing, how things are going to go step by step. Now we're in week 3, and I would say we're kind of like 20% there, right? So,
Yeah.
so we're learning about how things will be done, and the idea is very simple. You already mentioned it. The idea is to get 100,000 visitors, to get 1,000 bookings. So that means you're going to need suppliers. That means you're going to need a website. That means you're going to need a tracking mechanism, and it just seems very I would say, just seems very simple to just go out there and start doing it. But at the same time, what I, for example, spent a lot of time on this week was actually putting together the 4 key pillars of what we're going to need to be successful when building out our this whole business. And it's not just about okay, let's go and let's get suppliers, but it is actually about, okay, so when we were talking about getting suppliers, um, how are we going to do it on a regular basis? How are we actually going to make sure that these things are repeated
Yeah.
and they are sustainable,
Yeah.
because what we could do, we could just go out and we could just reach out to suppliers and say, hey, we're here, this is what we're building, and so
Mm-hmm,
on.
mm-hmm.
And then we
Yeah.
jump on to another activity. For
Yeah.
example, making a podcast, it takes approximately, I don't know, half a day to record and edit and put out the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we're talking about the long form, which is
Mm-hmm.
about 20-30 minutes, what we're recording.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another format, which we just started with last week, which is short clips. And we, from the last week's episode, we produced 2 short clips, which we're hoping to be able to send to potential partners, to people who might be working with us. And these short clips, that's additional time that you need to take to
Mm-hmm.
produce it, right? And so
Yeah.
if you think about it, at this point, it's pretty much 3 of us who are working on this whole project. One of us is a
Yeah.
developer, one of us is me, which is mostly working on recording the podcast, preparing everything in the background, and then you being on vacation. Okay, so so there really is not that much time. If you think about, okay, so let's create a podcast at the same time. Let's write down the SOPs, and this is it just gives you a touch of reality in terms of
Mhm.
how everything goes, because
Yeah.
there's one level of organizing the
Mhm.
project, there's another level of
Executing it.
executing the project. And since we are
Absolutely.
right at the beginning, and since we're trying to do this the way,
Mm.
kind of like, from the beginning, for
Yeah.
somebody who's got no resources and has not done it before, so
Yeah.
we're doing everything ourselves with everything that's available, meaning we're doing it with open source software, which is the website. Okay, we bought a few pieces of software. We bought a few things that we needed, like for example the jingles for our intro and so on. But then we're producing the SOPs, and so as I'm producing the podcast, which I'm using Mac native software for, so you
Mhm.
don't need any additional licenses.
Yeah.
uh, at the same time, I'm producing the SOPs, which doubles the time to produce everything. And then you only have like 5 or 6 days per week for
Mhm.
work, if you think about it, before you go into preparation. And one of the things that was produced last week was another document, which I called Secretgoats Success Factors, where we talk about, first of all, getting the suppliers, which is a process, because what you need to do is you don't only acquire the suppliers, but what you actually need to take a look at, and this is a calculation that I did earlier today, is you need to take into consideration the number of cars that you're going to have available in
Uh-huh.
your fleet. Because
Uh-huh.
okay, you can have 10 suppliers, but if you only have,
Yeah.
let's say, if you have only 100 cars, there
Mhm.
are only so many bookings that you can produce in a given month, right?
Absolutely.
So
Mhm.
if you think about certain conversions, if you think about certain market penetration and all these
Yeah.
things,
Mhm.
you come to a certain number of cars that you need in your fleet. So it's not really, and this is something that was a realization, or that was a calculation that I made today.
Yeah.
It's not just about, okay, we need suppliers, but we need a certain amount of cars. So we kind of going more towards, we're going to be acquiring
Mhm.
cars into our inventory so that we can
Actually,
sell them, right?
yeah, yeah, actually sell the desired amount of 1,000 bookings. That's what
Yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah.
understanding. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so once you go into the acquisition process, you then go into a separate process, which is maintenance.
Mhm.
And I already talked about the time allocation that we have. So there's a certain time allocation that we need to have for the podcast, for um, um, the script, the production, and so on and so on. We're gonna need also certain time allocation for talking to the suppliers,
Mhm.
negotiating with them under
Mhm.
what conditions they're gonna work with us.
Ooh.
Make sure what that they are able to implement our system, which is super super simple to implement. Actually, is just a few lines of code that you put. It's similar to Google Analytics, but still you need to explain it to the suppliers how that works. And then we need to make sure that they're happy with our services. And then also at the end of each month, you need to make sure that they're getting all the reports, that
Mhm.
you know what reports are needed, and so on and so on and so on. So there needs to be somebody that's a job in itself. That's
That's a
I think,
total. That's a normal.
yeah,
That's a regular job, a daily job.
and a very important one. And so I
Mhm.
think we're
Mhm.
gonna need a, so that's another thing that we're gonna need. We're gonna need a job description, and we're gonna also need a profile for a person that's gonna
Mhm.
do that.
Oh yeah.
Then I touched on the other success factors, which is analytics, which
Yeah.
is income and traffic, and which is also finance, meaning making sure that the cash flow is healthy, that we're getting paid
Right.
for commissions, because this whole idea is based on sending referrals for commission. So these are actually four key jobs that we're going to need to perform either
Mhm.
ourselves. I'm not sure how much time we're going to need to spend on it, but as soon as we prove the business case, which from my point of view is the most important objective for right
Mhm.
now,
Yeah.
as soon as we prove the business the business case, then we need to grow, and we need to be able to hire people for these positions. Because, for example, analytics, just that job alone, I think is extremely important and definitely crucial for success, because that's somebody who's working with the suppliers, that's somebody who's working with the incoming traffic, making sure
Yeah.
that they understand how their business case works.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that's also very important to feed data to the financial people who are sending out invoices and
Voices.
making sure that all the commissions are being paid and that people are cooperating in a healthy manner, you know?
I understand. Well,
So
that sounds like we're gonna be building a team there. I know we sooner or later. I mean,
hopefully, yeah.
if I imagine the number of cars, imagine. I mean, I can see the document which you are talking about. If I see the number of cars which we are talking about, which we're supposed to basically have in the inventory, so that we can fulfill these 100,000 k per month slash 1,000 bookings per month, then acquiring and then maintaining such a fleet, including all with all the agenda that you just described, that'll definitely require a decent team. Some people who are gonna have to jump on board and a slow in a slow manner with a snowball effect agenda, slowly taking up more and more agenda. Either one person or two people. I don't want to jump into any conclusion. I'm just having just letting my imagination work a little bit. But that's a perfect thing. I love working with teams. You love working with teams, right?
Yeah, and I think so. At this point in time, we're aiming for 3,000 cars. We should be able to do with a little, with fewer cars than that. But this should be a sweet spot, which gives us enough fleet so that we can sell and be comfortable in terms of not running out of fleet. Because the worst thing that could happen to us is that we
Mm.
have traffic
Yeah.
and we have nothing to sell, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
So,
yeah.
on the other hand, if you think about it, I'm actually quite optimistic because if you think about, I mean, the really small companies, they have
Yeah.
somewhere around, I don't know, 30, 50. I mean, I don't talk about outright startups that could have
Yeah.
10, 11 cars. I'm talking
Yeah.
about 30, 50, somebody with a little bit of a process, with a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of, we've done it for
History.
a while. Yeah. And so if you think about it, these guys, they should be somewhere around 100, 200, 300 cars. I
Uh huh.
definitely know that in Mexico there are very highly valued or highly rated companies. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I know City Car Rental. I know these guys are in Cancun, Tulum. They are in Playa del Carmen, maybe other locations as well. They
Yeah.
got quite a few locations, and I know that these guys have several hundred cars, or I
Mm-hmm.
assume they do. So if you think about it, basically what we need is we need to get a few suppliers like that, maybe 5 to 10 suppliers, and if we do, I think then we should be fine. So that's kind of comforting
Yeah.
in terms of the effort that's going to take. Of course, we got to make sure that they want to talk to us and that they find value in our approach, which is focus on quality and working on presenting good quality companies on our website.
Mm.
So
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I understand. I understand what you mean. And gee, I listening to all the work that's being done. I must say that it's family and all the stuff that I'm witnessing right here around is just so much absorbing all the energy that I'm able to basically devote to this project. But on the other hand,
we know you're
uh,
on a holiday. We know you're on a holiday. So
yeah. I know on a I'm on a holiday. On the other hand, I can see that it is about the team. You know, it is about the cooperation of the people, and it's perfect to see that even when part of the team is somehow basically devoting his energy somewhere else for obvious reasons, then that the rest of the team is doing an absolute fantastic job. That's very comforting, and it comes back to the processes which you started and basically the SOPs and all the documentation that's being prepared. That's a perfect result.
Of course, I totally love and admire your optimism, and that's one of the reasons why we're working together. I gotta say at the same time that week 3, to be completely honest, I have panic attacks about this project,
Okay.
thinking about all the things. I mean, not in a way that you want to, I don't know, quit or whatever. But it's just like there's just so much stuff that you need to
Mm-hmm.
think about, and you're just thinking about, okay, can we make it? Can we not make it? Because obviously, yeah, in our intro we say, watch us as we succeed or as we fail. But obviously, our goal is not to fail, right? We want to succeed. And so I'm kind of thinking about it. And as you go in these like weekly segments, you're thinking to yourself, all right, so what have we done? What have we
Yeah.
done this
Another
week?
week gone by. What did we manage to
Exactly.
do?
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, talking to you again, talking to you, and having this podcast. One of the great things about having this podcast and having this kind of forum where we're talking on a regular basis, the great thing about it is that we get a chance to review the things that have been done.
Mhm.
So we take a look at this document. We can talk about it a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna need this. We're gonna need four success factors, which is suppliers, analytics, incoming traffic, getting paid, presenting it to you, presenting it to the listeners of the podcast. It's very useful because you need to structure this information. And if you were doing it alone, I don't think you would just do it. You would take the time. So it's just such a great thing to have this kind of accountability where things just need to be produced, because otherwise you're just going to be left out there without stuff, without content. um, this week, today's the 12th of July. Our episode comes out tomorrow, which is the 13th. This week, I want to start talking to, and this is something I'm very excited about. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to start talking to the influencers and start talking to them about how we could work together, because I'm expecting actually this to be to take a few weeks, a couple of weeks. I don't think there's going to be a quick, and this is one of the things that I'm most let's say anxious about, how this is
Mhm.
going to go down.
Yeah, I understand.
And for me also, that's very important, because that's going to be where we're going to see whether our business case makes sense
Mhm.
or not. And
Yeah.
that's basically that's going to make or break. We're gonna have to make a little bit of an investment, most likely, and we're going to see whether the dollars that we're putting in are coming out the other way.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
that's 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 where it's that's the core of this whole 15 week exercise. Basically, at the end of the 15 weeks, or maybe a little earlier, and then we're gonna have a little bit of time for adjustment. But at the end of the 15 weeks, we need to be able to say whether a $1 that we put in uh, returns less or more than $1. That's basically the whole thing. And if it returns less than a dollar, what do we have to do? Is there something that we can do to make it more than a dollar?
Yeah. Or yeah. That's the whole idea of it. That's what it's all about. Absolutely.
Speaking about the influencers, one thing that I think probably deserves mentioning is this podcast again. And I know we talk about it a lot, and we kind of keep reiterating it. But one thing, as I showed it to a few of my friends, they asked me, why the podcast and how many views are you
Yeah.
getting for the podcast?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I
What
think
was
it's
the
a I think it's a great idea. It's a very direct idea. A lot of people are getting into podcasts these days,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Everybody
it's
wants to have a
very
podcast.
hard to actually find a podcast that you're gonna like, that you're gonna be listening to, and that's gonna be a part of your agenda. But that's not really what we're aiming for here, is it?
No, no, we're not. We're aiming to basically find people who would be able to help us promote the tourist industry in Mexico, and that could be viewers from or listeners from either the suppliers side. It could be influencers, which we already mentioned. It could be people who want to start a similar project like we do in some other part of the country or the globe, basically trying to promote tourism somewhere else. Am I forgetting somebody?
I think basically the way you're saying it is, I see the same way. I mean, there are two main reasons for having this podcast. One is educational, which is, I mean, we're primarily educating ourselves, but also at the same time, if somebody wants to do something similar, maybe they can take a look at how we're doing it, what we're doing, and then learn from our mistakes, or maybe take some of the documents or SOPs or whatever that we produce and use it for their own benefit, you know? So that's one part, which is educational. And then there's another part, which is just creating some sort of a vibe. And it's very hard to make a connection with people online, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you just have a website
Yeah.
without faces, without any kind of like who's behind it,
Yeah.
it's just difficult. So I think this is a great way. I'm not expecting somebody's gonna, if somebody follows it, of course it's gonna be very exciting, and I'm gonna be very happy about it. But the main thing is, we're for example, now we're getting in touch with the Mexican embassy, right? And
Yeah.
they got back to us, and they wanted to know a little bit more information about what it is that we do.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we can do is we can send them this podcast where they can see how we're interacting with each other and what we're trying to do, and we're explaining how we're going about it and so on. We can also create these short clips, which is a great way of having a little bit of I don't know, information about the podcast,
Yeah.
or the project that we have, and just send it out to
Yeah,
people.
grabbing someone's attention just for a little while, and maybe then making him want to look at the rest of it. Basically, it's like a little sending out little teasers about
Yeah.
information and content which we produce.
Because this way we can basically send out, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 emails even to our potential suppliers, and we can say, hey guys, this is what we're doing. Here's our website, and just in case you want to find out a little bit more about us,
Mm-hmm.
you can take a look at this. Here's our YouTube channel where we have our podcast, or you can listen to it, whatever. So it just adds a little bit of that, I would say, credibility to the whole enterprise. Hopefully, at least at least that is one of our hypotheses, right?
Yeah, which we will either approve or disapprove once this 15-week project comes to its a final couple of weeks. We shall know
Yeah,
very soon.
yeah.
It's been week 3 now, and this is the fourth episode of our podcast, and we're basically almost a quarter of the way in the project.
Oh, that's
So
scary.
it is scary. So we'll see how the very proximate future goes, and me coming back from the holiday finally, and jumping into the action, I would say.
Yep, yep, yeah. Okay. With that being said, I think we've covered everything that we wanted to cover for this episode. A lot of
Yeah.
things happened. We're getting better, hopefully, at producing process. We're moving forward with our outreach efforts, and we're moving towards week 4. So I think. Hopefully next week we're gonna see you back in your work process. We're
Yes.
gonna be able to talk about the things that we've accomplished. Until then, from myself, thanks for listening. Have a good week, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you as well from myself. Thank you for listening. And if you want to catch up with us, don't forget to visit our website, secretgoats.com, where you can leave a comment
Secretgoats.com, baby.
and leave us a message. It will be great for any input from anybody who's listening. Thank you very much, Pavel.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.